Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Politdigm podcast. My name is Red, and today I'm joined by my co-host Alpha.
Joined in multiple sense because I am here on location,
Yes.
haunting Red as we speak.
Today he is standing right next to me as we are recording, which is fun because we haven't done this. I was thinking before you arrive at my home, I was thinking that the last time we tried to record a podcast
Oh, it
together
was so much ass. It was so bad.
It was years and years ago when, for those who don't know, we used to be part of this team called Team 76, and we had a podcast, and there were episodes which were recorded trying to like start a season one or like just trying to record anything, which never came out. I have no idea where the recordings even are. And pretty
God
much,
bless, that shit should be burnt and thrown into the ocean.
yeah. But I remember like being at your home.
Backfeed.
I remember being at your home recording like on your little shitty laptop, on like a shitty headphone mic or some shit.
Yeah.
And now I'm like two monitors, fancy light up keyboard.
It was even worse than that
fancy
because
mic.
you were at the laptop controlling all the software
Yeah.
with my headphones while
Yeah.
I was laying on my bed across the room using
yeah.
Apple earbuds or something like that.
Yeah, because we were like recording
Yeah,
through
but the
Discord,
ones with
even though
wires.
we were in the same room, which is
Yeah,
weird.
and you had so much backfeed because you could still catch my voice through the
Yeah.
other mic.
that
So bad.
was a horrible experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now
we only
we're
found that out like after the recording. So it
Yeah,
was
most
like
likely.
1 hour and a half recording or something like that.
Yeah, it was pretty long, most likely. But anyways, today is the 18th of December, which means that we are getting closer and closer to the end of the year. And
I'm so fucking done with this year, thank God.
yeah, this year has been horrendous.
Shit.
Although we did start doing Politdigm, which was probably the best part of this year.
Silver linings do exist, yes.
But yeah, at least for me, it was probably the best part of this year. However, this week was again my week because Alpha is a lazy asshole.
Nah. Okay, so I made a proposal, a business strategic proposal.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, basically, I'm going to write a 2-part blog.
Yeah.
It's going to be tackling a very, very controversial topic, and I need to do a lot of research. Besides that, we have this little thing called Christmas.
Yeah.
So spoiler alert, we won't be launching out a blog next week.
Yeah, next week we won't have any blog, which is the first time in 25 weeks,
Yeah, goddamn.
which is most of the year when the year only has 52 weeks. So that's pretty much most of it, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah. So I went to Red and said, okay, so I know you have your blog already all written out.
Yeah.
So what if you launch your blog this week? Then we have the next week where we don't launch anything. And for the next 2 weeks, I will launch my double parter.
Yeah, so that's what we're doing. But before we do get into the episode, make sure to support us over on Patreon. And if you do so, make sure to also join our Discord server so that you can get access to special perks and submit questions to our podcast Q&A.
Yeah.
And another thing, which has been a long time in the workings, but since the last episode, we now finally have the first piece of content on our main channel. So on the main channel on YouTube, of course. So if you are watching this on YouTube, or even if you aren't, make sure to go to our main channel and to go check out our new series called Politdigm Reads, where we will be reading different books. Currently, we are reading the Communist Manifesto, or I am, which is
Based.
yeah, which is right next to me, and it's I'm having fun doing that. So make sure to go check that out.
Also, I want to say something. You do not know this, but I have the knowledge of someone who listens to our podcast so much that it showed up on their Spotify Wrapped.
Really?
Yeah.
What the fuck? I mean, it showed up on our Spotify Wrapped, but we had like a creator
Yeah.
Spotify Wrapped, which basically went like, yeah, your podcast was mostly watched in Portugal, which was not really a surprise to us because, I mean,
So where our fan base is mostly
but
concentrated.
we still have a small viewer base, and most of them are friends and family, so that's expected. And then the other thing was like, your most viewed or the most listened to episode is episode 2, which is the one you did about like racism, and I had to do with France.
Oh yeah, it's still one of our best blogs.
Which is funny because it's bullshit. Because that day I checked which was the most listened to episode of the podcast, and it wasn't that one. At least on Spotify.
Yeah,
of
which
course.
one was it?
I think it was like the newer, it was like episode like 17 or 18. It was something like that,
The
but like
Palestine one?
I
Or
think it
maybe
was
the
it was
incels?
it was it was something else. I don't remember which one it was, but it definitely was something that was much more recent compared to episode 2.
Yeah.
So it was kind of random.
But yeah, that person sent their support. They are real chats.
True.
If they are listening to this, know that I personally appreciate your support.
And even though I don't know who the hell he's talking about, I do too, but I'll find out after the episode.
Yeah, I'm
most
not
likely.
gonna dox you right now, so
Or will he? You'll never know.
here are the coordinates.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get into the article. So this week I got inspired by things that were transpiring in real life, and most importantly, it was related to how Instagram Threads finally came to the EU. Now, during this last summer, Instagram or Meta launched a new social media, which was supposed to basically be the new Twitter or their version of Twitter.
It's X.
Yeah, no, I refuse to call it X.
So bad. The URL is still Twitter.
Yeah, but actually, no, if you do put in x.com, it does actually redirect you to Twitter.
Really?
Yeah, but then it's still twitter.com. So it's
Yeah,
like,
I've never had Twitter, so I'm completely oblivious to the ongoings.
it's probably for the best.
Yeah.
But I kind of got interested in it. Of course, I was already interested in it beforehand when it was launched in the summer. However, since it wasn't in the EU, the only way I was able to kind of use it or be able to play around with it was in a very funky. Don't look at me like that, Alpha. I know I said play with it. The only way that I was able to use it was in like a very suspicious and not very official way. So at some
You may
point,
call it sus.
and at some point, Meta did patch it so that you couldn't use it anymore in Europe, even though you installed it through some wacky websites. I probably shouldn't have done that, but whatever. I still had it on my phone, and one morning, suddenly, as I went on my Instagram account, not my personal one, I suddenly started seeing Threads posts that were suggested to me. Like there's like this little section where it just like when you're on Instagram, it says like suggested people, which is like this little bar that you can like scroll through. It was exactly the same, but it was recommended Threads posts or whatever. And I was looking, and I was like, why is this showing up? Is this because I still have Threads installed? It doesn't make much sense, because if Threads is installed, it still doesn't work. So why is it here? So then I opened Threads, and suddenly it just worked perfectly. And I found out that, it's in Europe now. So that's how I found out. Without being the case, I decided, hey, it's probably best that that Politdigm joins Threads. So I did. I made a Threads account for Politdigm. It's relatively easy. All you have to do is log in with an Instagram account. You have to accept some terms. Probably sold our soul to I don't know, to Zuck, but who knows?
We got sucked by the Zuck.
Bro, god damn it. But
I mean, I have a VR headset from Meta, so
I mean, Zuck probably sees what all the funky shit you're doing at night. So you're probably in the worst state in this scenario.
yeah.
Anyways, I started doing some research on Threads, exactly what Threads was, because I kept hearing a name which I had heard before a couple months ago, but I wasn't quite aware what it was.
Let me guess. Fediverse.
Exactly, the Fediverse.
It's right here on the blog. That's why I'm asking.
I have a large ass 27-inch monitor in front of me.
Samsung. I don't know.
120 hertz display now. I mean,
40K.
no, not for what 40K. What the hell? No, but yeah, it's in front of us. So the Fediverse. So I started questioning what the Fediverse was and why, when you, for example, created an account on Threads, they at some point, right at the end, right before you click the button saying create an account, it said that soon it would have compatibility or would work together with other Fediverse social media platforms. And I was like, what does that mean? What is this thing? What is the Fediverse? Is this
the worst version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Yeah, is this like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but for social media platforms? And
that
in a
would be
way,
so cursed.
In a way, it kind of is.
Oh my god, that's so cursed.
But we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Fucking Instagram flies in to save Threads.
Yeah, but anyways, first, before we do get further into what the Fediverse is, let's talk a little bit about what a social media platform is, because It has changed a lot in the last years, and
Really?
and X is the or Twitter is the best example of it. How fast
They're getting to you.
the social media
The
platform
fucking brain rot.
the social media platform can change, because originally social media platforms, for example, you have MySpace, which was like the original. I think MySpace is even before Facebook, and Facebook eventually came to
Yeah.
kill MySpace, was something which was very
With a fucking shotgun.
was very personal, right? This whole idea of like, this was a personal, almost like a personal blog, like this page which you could edit everything. You could edit your profile picture, your name, the fonts, the colors of every. If you had to, you could customize
Yes,
each
the first few, I
letter.
believe.
Yeah, you could even like change the organization of each part of your
Get
profile.
some Nvidia on the bitch.
So you could pretty much have your own platform. Then eventually Facebook came around, and if you know, originally the idea of Facebook was, even if you ignore the very sus and like low-key misogynistic
Misogynistic, yeah. They
tendencies
made
that,
a movie about that.
that Zuckerberg had to create the original version of Facebook. Facebook pretty much was this idea of connecting people together. I mean, it originated from
Especially on the Harvard campus.
yeah, it was exactly
Because
that.
he got rejected by his girlfriend, so he wanted to find a way to connect with other people.
Yeah, so basically he wanted to, because like Harvard at that point, not just Harvard, other colleges pretty much had their own social media platforms. And interestingly enough, very much like the Fediverse, which further on we'll explain, those could interconnect. You could like be on one, I believe you could be on one college social media platform and then connect with others on others
That would be
and like
such
talk.
a flex. Like imagine saying to someone, "Oh, sorry, I can't talk to you. Our systems are incompatible.
Yeah.
Compatible. Jesus Christ.
Incompatible.
Incompatible. You're in Columbia, and I'm at Harvard, bitch."
Yeah, but pretty much then Zuck wanted to create his own version. So originally, Facebook or social media platforms purely existed in this idea of, hey, let's create a place where people can communicate with each other and can just be, can share their interests, share everything they love.
And find people to communicate with.
Exactly. However, in the last years, social media has changed completely. I don't know exactly when the shift was. I don't think it's something that was pretty much, I don't think there was like a year. It was just a gradual shift to this concept of social media. But I'd say that at least since 2016, which was, the year with the whole Trump bullshit with Facebook.
That was
and
such a weird year.
Yeah.
That's still my benchmark for like where my life went completely south.
Yeah, you and pretty much the whole society, which
Yeah.
which I don't know. Have you noticed that like most people agree that like 2016 was like their last good year?
Yeah.
I don't know why that's a thing.
I mean, it was still a shit year by my standards, but I still have 2016 as my year, which is fucked because it's 2023.
Yeah.
It's been 7 years.
Ooh, yeah, it's been 7 years. That's
I imagine like I even remember back when I didn't know anything about politics. My music teacher was like, "So, who do you want to in, Donald Trump or
Hillary. It was
Hillary Clinton?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "I don't know who these people are, so I'm gonna say Trump because it sounds like Donald the Duck."
Oh, motherfucker has a funny name. Gonna vote for him.
Most normal U.S. voter. Funny name. Who?
Yeah, but pretty much that's a good example of when definitely
Shit went south.
Yeah, when social media started going south, because social media slowly started developing into something which predominantly was benefiting marketing teams and companies rather than purely the people, because it also was financially more sound to do so. And so slowly social media has ads everywhere, and Twitter is an example of this. If I open Twitter right now, you would see an ad every 2 fucking posts. It's awful.
Can you count YouTube as social media?
I wouldn't call it.
It's more of
YouTube
an
as-
entertainment platform.
It's more of a video sharing platform. I wouldn't
Yeah.
call it social media. It definitely had more social media aspects to it originally. Like you could, I don't know if you remember, like you could a couple of years ago, like send messages to each other on YouTube.
Oh yeah, that was so strange.
But like eventually they took it away, and like pretty
I
much-
wonder why.
like actually no, like I used to like send videos to, for example, my dad or something. Like if he would like see a video that I wanted to share with him, I used to send him on there. And one day I was going to do that same thing, and it was like, Where to go?
Where to go?
Why can't I send a message anymore?
Like I definitely see whenever I'm on Instagram, a lot of the times I see pages that I follow getting paid to advertise certain products,
Yeah.
or even other accounts. A lot of the time, it's smut. It's so bad.
Yeah, mostly with like the whole Team You thing now. Like it's just the most sus ass,
Have you logged on to Twitch?
like kinky ass. Yeah,
Jesus.
I've been on Twitch.
I went to Twitch to look at a
Titties
new-
everywhere.
and I just saw like, oh, she's doing stuff.
Yeah.
Why is she
Why is she
clothless?
why is she so oily? Like what is happening?
Why is the camera focused on her ass? Isn't
yeah.
this supposed to be a gaming channel?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a gaming
I'm gaming with my with my toys.
oh boy.
IRL mechanics.
But yeah, going back to what social media was and what now is, it basically has completely changed the way social media works. It now much more focuses on, like we said in the previous episode, which you hosted, was
Yeah.
that it's now primarily functioning under an algorithm. Basically, they will show you what they want. They will show you what investors want. They will make sure that they can get the most money out of you as possible. And for example, with social media platforms like TikTok, they have made this even worse because now people are used to not even seeing what the people they know are doing. Because, for example, on TikTok, you don't even have to follow people to constantly see the same content.
Yeah.
You'll just know. For example, this morning I found out that there's this like sea lion called Neil in New Zealand, very adorable. Just lives in a town and just terrorizes people. Very funny. And I haven't followed a single account related to this sea lion, and yet I have seen several accounts consistently show me this content, and it's because it knows that I want to see that cute little sea lion. It's very big. I don't know why I said little. It's fucking massive and heavy as fuck. Just
Let the
go-
record show that I do not have TikTok nor Twitter, and exactly because of this type of bullshit,
Yeah, and so
I refused.
So following this, of course, platforms like Instagram and even to a degree Facebook has followed too, because Facebook Reels is the thing I found out
Yeah.
recently. So Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels now are
Like, for
focused
example,
primarily
for
on
a
just
lot
showing
of-
random shit.
A lot of time, a lot of a big amount of time, you needed to have a Facebook account to use a MetaQuest headset.
Yeah.
They took it down like last year, I'm pretty sure. But I remember just getting fucking bombarded. I had to create a new email address that I didn't use for anything else, just so I could dedicate it to Facebook spam.
Yeah.
It was so infuriating because in the mix of that, there were some important things when it came to user policies, update, etc. But because it was linked to a Facebook account that I did not want to have and I didn't use for anything else, I just got, well, yeah, so spammed.
Yeah.
So spammed.
I mean, I've pretty much like turned off any notification or any type of content that like Facebook or even Instagram tries to push me. I've completely blocked. The only
Yeah.
thing, the only information that I get from Facebook and Instagram, from Facebook, I don't get anything.
Personal messages. right?
I've turned,
DMs.
no, even those, I've
You
completely,
turned off the DMs?
I've turned everything off.
That's why you don't answer me, you bitch.
I turned, no, on Facebook. I'm talking about Facebook.
Oh, I asked you on Instagram.
No, on Instagram, I just ignore you because you send me a shit ton of
I sent you an extremely funny video about headless pistons.
You send me so many reels, Alpha.
Headless
You
pistons.
send me so many fucking
I send
reels.
you max 2 reels a day. Max.
That is too much for me to keep up with. Anyways, not the point.
Bitch, you weak-brained little
On
Gen Z.
Instagram, the only, like you said, the only thing that I have on is, I believe, when people interact with my posts, which is, I mean, fair enough, and when people send me DMs. That's
Yeah.
it.
Same, basically.
However, like, this is because they want to keep you on the social media platform as long as they can. That this is their goal. This is what they want to do because this is how they get the most money out of you.
Yeah, and by them, specifically investors, producers, like
Yeah.
content managers, anyone that has a name in the game.
Yeah, and so
It's
of
a whole
course,
ecosystem.
and of course, the way they do this is, as we said before, or as I said before, was the algorithms. That's their whole deal. Is they have an algorithm which controls exactly what you see, and promotes certain content basically that will keep you on the platform as long as possible,
And
and
it will
also
track
fits
your response.
and also fits their narrative, which most of the times it will just, for example, I've gotten this before on other platforms, which you can tell that the platform is trying to sell you an idea of what you should be, of you, what you, of what you think of a certain thing. Which me, who has strong beliefs about something, I can see through it and immediately notice that, oh, this is trying to push a certain narrative that is either
Yeah.
not true or not fully showing the entire picture of something.
I have an example. As I've said before on this podcast, I ride a motorcycle. I really like motorcycles, but I have a friend that fucking hates them. And out of nowhere, they just started sending me motorcycle reels. And why? Because even though they didn't follow anything motorcycle related, just because they were associated with me, they started receiving reels and they thought, this shit funny. So they started saying it to me. And now their reels are just polluted with motorcycle content, even though they don't like anything.
Yeah, I get this a lot. I don't know if you've noticed,
Because
but like,
it engages us.
yeah, and it's and another thing which they do, which I don't know if you've noticed. I don't use Reels much, to be fair. I usually use TikTok, and I mean it's pretty much the same shit. It's pretty much the same bullshit.
I don't. I only have Instagram because you asked.
Yeah, and you still haven't you haven't changed your profile picture in God knows how long.
I'm too fucking lazy to do it.
I know. And so
I don't
like,
care about it.
something that you probably have noticed, which is that when you were scrolling through Reels, is that you'll very frequently notice that you're seeing Reels which your friends have liked.
Yeah, and posts too.
And and that happens to me all the time, and almost every time. And it's funny because like I'll see a reel which I think I'll send to you, and then suddenly I notice, oh shit, he has already seen it.
You try to send me reels?
No, I mean I did send you a reel like 2 days ago or yesterday or when it was. So you
One time.
no, I do send you, because I barely am. I never spend any time on Reels. So yeah, it's like this. They're trying to perpetuate this like idea of like keeping you on the platform without even seeing content that has nothing to do with the original concept of social media, which was
This is no
connecting your
fucking
friends.
secret. Like, as you all know, Instagram is part of Meta, who was originally the owner. Well, the company called Facebook.
Yeah.
Changed the name to Meta and just bought a bunch of properties online. And there are a bunch of interviews with people that are responsible for some parts of the management and even updates within Facebook. And they are talking about engagement. I remember seeing a documentary where they were testing the user's reaction whenever their phone was out of reach and it started receiving notifications.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah,
remember seeing that
I think
one.
we saw that in school actually.
Yeah, I think we saw that together most likely.
Yeah, and then there was an interview with one of the lead developers of Facebook's visuals, I think.
Yeah.
And he was saying, yeah, we have this infinite scroll, and it's just the doom scrolling helps keep you engaged, and then every single like that you receive is a drop of dopamine, and it just gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And we do all these little things, these graphics, these menus, these transitions are all, well, they're all made on purpose as to keep you engaged within the content of this platform. And seeing as though that's the mentality of this huge mega corporation who now owns a bunch of other, platforms.
Yeah.
From Instagram to now Threads, Facebook, WhatsApp.
Yeah, it's. I actually forgot they own a WhatsApp. I actually
VR content, the amount of shit I get on that. You can have VR friends and you have your own VR avatar. You don't have legs, by the way. No, I think you have legs now, but you can have them. Yeah, you have legs now. That was a battle, by the way.
I know.
That was so fucking
for
strange.
some reason, I'm aware of the leg thing, but anyways, as we can tell, social media throughout the years has slowly gone from something which is primarily used to connect with your friends to now being something which has absolutely nothing to do with it.
It went from social to the media.
Yeah, it went from purely a social network to now a social media, something that is more focused toward
Roll
the media.
credits.
Yeah, that's it. Done with the episode. No. But now we can move on to the Fediverse because we'll keep talking about the previous topic further on with the context of the Fediverse. So,
Yeah, what the fuck is this?
what exactly is the Fediverse? So the Fediverse means federal universe. That is what the name
Oh
means.
god.
So
I do not like those words.
so the whole idea is that the Fediverse, any social media that works underneath the Fediverse, is basically they have a federal model of functioning. What does that mean? That means that the for example, Meta does not own the server, does not own the platform on which Threads is built, which means that they have hypothetically no direct access to their data or to the user data. They, of course, they have access to your user data because you use an Instagram account, but they don't actually know what you're doing on there. What this means, what the Fediverse means, is basically that everything under the Fediverse functions under the same sort of base rules. They all work kind of, like, you can think of it like an email, right? Like we all have emails.
Like an operating system, like Android and
No. It's not like that. Like they all have the same language. It means that every Fediverse platform all has the same language, which means that they can talk to each other. It means that they can and could in the future. Currently, Threads cannot talk to any other platform. But the whole idea is that they have all these platforms which use the exact same language or the exact same protocol. So when you think of this in the way, for example, an email, you have, for example, a Gmail and you have a Hotmail. One is from Google, the other one is from Microsoft.
you have Yahoo.
However, they all use the exact same protocol or a same. It's not a perfect example because email actually uses several different protocols, but they still, even all those different protocols, they can still talk with each other. They still can comprehend.
Yes.
There's still a layer of translation which allows them to talk to each other. But you can, regardless, send an email to anybody, regardless of which operator or which provider you are using. What that means is that, for example, let's take this hypothetical social media platform which doesn't exist yet, but like let's say that Twitter now decides to be
Join.
part of the Fediverse. You could then, hypothetically speaking, on Threads, follow somebody from Twitter without them having a Threads account, because every user will have their own address, just like an email. In fact, it looks exactly like an email. For example, I'll give you the example of the current address that Politdigm has. It's @politdigm@threads.net, which looks exactly like an email, apart from having an @ in front of the username.
Yeah.
So the whole concept is that the whole federal universe is because they want to create a universe of social media, which means that every social media platform is interconnected and they all follow a federal model, meaning that that means that the creator of the social media does not own the actual server. Sorry, I had my microphone.
Yeah.
They don't actually own the server, which means that in the case of Meta, in the case of Threads, that means that all they have is kind of like an instance like this. They're hosting their platform.
They're the landlords.
No, I wouldn't even say they're the landlords. I would say much more that they are basically like there's an owner of, like, how can I put this in a political term?
Like those garages that you can rent out for space. You can just put your stuff in there. Whatever you do is your business, but it has one common owner.
Yeah, that basically like that. Like what I say is
I'll
like,
be honest.
Meta,
I do not like the sound of this.
like the Meta is not the owner of the servers of Threads. This means that for a theoretically, Threads can die and yet the platform will still exist because your information, your data is part of the Fediverse, which means that Threads or Meta has doesn't have the same amount of power which they have over their other platforms, which in a way is good. Like the idea of having this commonly owned, because the thing is, like, when we talk about the Fediverse, nobody owns the Fediverse. Nobody owns the concept of email. It's just this thing which is
Imagine putting a patent on email.
like there's no. I don't think. I think email is just like this.
It's this ethereal basis of code that you can use. It's a language, basically.
Yeah, it's a language. So the Fediverse is exactly the same. Nobody owns the Fediverse.
You can just own the different properties that exist within the Fediverse.
And you don't even own it. That's the thing, is like all you do is you can put your own rules. You can, for example, Threads has their own rules. Like you can have, for example,
No, but for example, imagine if Twitter joined the Fediverse, like Elon would still own Twitter, right?
exactly. But
Okay.
but that means that, I mean, with Twitter, it's hard to say because their entire social media isn't based on the Fediverse. But if they imagine that they created like a section, like a separate section of Twitter, which was connected to the Fediverse, that Fediverse, which is then how, because like you can imagine the Fediverse as like a Discord, right? There are different servers, and each server is like its own social media platform.
But they're all under Discord.
Yeah, but they're all one thing. For example, because
I
like
gotta do a little announcement. Everyone that's currently watching us, we're looking for graphic designers that can do animations while we talk, so as to help us with the things that we're saying. Because even I'm a little bit confused right now.
all right, so let's like I'll put this.
I think I got it, but it took us a while.
I'll put this into perspective. Let's like
Yeah, Discord servers.
like you have, for example, True Social,
I have no fucking clue.
the
about
social
that.
the social media that Trump created.
Oh God, no!
That one,
That's a thing.
yeah,
That's a thing.
that's the thing. Yes.
Oh my God! Why am I not in it? I would laugh so hard.
So True Social is part of the Fediverse.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. It is based off the Fediverse. It's based off the exact same infrastructure
That is
and
so
architecture
sad. That is
that
so sad.
Threads is based on. However, other platforms can choose to interact it or not. For example, have you heard of Mastodon?
Yeah.
Mastodon is like the
mammoth.
is not the godfather of the Fediverse, but is currently the most broader or like more, I'd say, inclusive, or the more or the platform they use is the Fediverse most, because
Yeah.
whilst a lot of people have recommended Mastodon as like a replacement for Twitter, I don't think it's a perfect replacement for Twitter, because in a way Mastodon does work in a similar aspect to Discord.
Yeah.
Because when you create a Mastodon account, you're not joining a social media platform. You create an account and then you can literally join the different servers, and then each server is its own social media account. And then in those servers, you can choose to send messages to people who are part of
Yeah,
other servers.
it has its own problems because, as you see with Discord, you have what I think believe you're going to talk about in here, which is just you create a vacuum within these communities. and it's
No.
harder
This
for them to
this is.
speak out.
I mean, that can definitely happen, but then at that point, it's like something that is like with Discord, it is enforceable. Like you can enforce rules easier, because like Discord is a privately owned company, and at the end of the day, they're the ones who like create the rules of each of the whole platform. And then of course inside the servers you can create tighter rules in a way, whilst creating a Fediverse or a Mastodon server or a Mastodon instance. You can create your own rules in it. Like the creator of that instance can create the rules, but there's no like I mean, I guess Mastodon probably does have its own rules, but like the Fediverse doesn't have it like these like imposable rules that they can like act upon. I mean, look at True Social. It's basically a gathering of fucking neo-Nazis. And yet like Mastodon, which was what I was going to say, Mastodon has completely blocked out True Social, even though it is part of the same
That can
the same language, even though it's part of the same protocol. They have basically like thrown it into the shadow realm and be like, no.
So let me see if I get this. Imagine that like the Fediverse is a circle.
Yeah.
Within this circle, there are little circles, and if they want, they can make connections between them.
Yeah, they can
or
make bridges.
They can make bridges.
Or just
they
no.
cut off, and each circle is owned by the circle, but the big circle doesn't just own the spaces, and owns the individual circles.
Because the whole interesting thing, which is what has interested,
the whole interesting thing which has interested.
Yeah, the whole thing that has made me interested in the Fediverse, and more importantly, how Threads will interact with the Fediverse, is how. First of all, Threads is a relatively easy platform to have access to, because there are like more than 2 billion users on Instagram.
Damn.
Which is way more than Twitter. which
Yeah.
just that concept is a something that Elon should be scared of, because
I
think
don't
about
think he
it.
has the brain power for
I
that.
don't think he has
You
either.
saw
But
that Grimes video that I sent you?
yeah, I did.
That was so
weird.
scary.
That was weird. But that is something that is worrying, because Thread, like Meta knows this, and they have on purpose made it so easy to make an account on Threads. All you have to do is install the app. You instantly it grabs the information from Instagram, so it immediately knows which accounts you're logged into. So you don't even have to enter a password or anything. You all you do is click a button, accept, and you're in. And you can follow all the same people which you follow on Instagram, even the people which have not yet created an account or put in like a waiting list.
Yeah.
So, for example, Politdigm already has some followers, and it's because some of the people who follow us on Instagram now automatically follow us
Yeah,
on
but if you
Threads.
follow what account in one place doesn't exactly mean that you will going to follow it.
No,
in
no,
the
no.
other
Like
place.
it's only in the beginning, only when you create an account can you
Yeah.
like choose to follow all, but afterwards, like the accounts you follow are completely independent.
I
And so this has allowed is that immediately for example, large accounts who are part of Instagram, they can immediately suddenly grow a massive audience on Threads without even having to try, which is something which has never really happened on any other social media platform, which is why usually they don't succeed, because starting over is going from zero to or having a massive platform and then going all the way back to zero, having to start all over again, is never easy for anybody.
I actually wanted to bring something along the lines of that up. If you wanna, if this thing actually launches and is actually extremely successful, I can't speak to them. So sorry. It's basically going to mean that competition has joined the Fediverse because if not, they will die out because you're not included.
Yeah, like the thing is, like the interesting thing about competition,
Which can be its own big old
well,
problem.
we'll get into that, because that is one of the topics that I want to get in. Man, you can look at the screen. There's one right there.
See,
The problems
I'm
with
smart.
Threads in the Fediverse. So what this means is, to kind of finish off, which is, first of all, the Fediverse is like a decentralized social media concept.
It's the libs of social media.
No, it's
I'm so sorry.
it's a decentralized concept, which means that Meta does not own the server which Threads is hosted on. What that means is that Threads has a very limited power in having access to its user data, which from the perspective of the user, that is great, which means that we as users will have much more power again compared to which we've had in the past. However, there is one little problem which I have currently, which if you read the website, the Instagram website, on its on like how it will function, on
Changes.
how Threads is going to function with the Fediverse, there's one little teeny tiny thing which I hadn't thought about, which when I think about it doesn't, it's a bit of an ick. I'm not 100% fan of it, which is that, for example, you make a post on Threads. That post is now on the Fediverse. If you delete that post on Threads, it is gone on Threads. Anybody who uses Threads can no longer see that post.
But you can go on
However-
the other platforms.
However, if that post specifically is now all over the Fediverse, Threads has no power to enforce that that post must be deleted off the Fediverse. It can only delete it off their instance.
Imagine being able to see all the Twitter,
Racism.
and not only that, on the other side of the coin, imagine if someone posts nudes and then regrets it.
Yeah, that is.
It's going to be. It was already almost impossible to be able to clean the internet of that shit. Now it's going to actually be basically impossible because, well, you're shit out of luck, Chum.
Yeah, so there's that concept which is
Scary.
However, they don't get into too much detail within it. So there's things to take into account, which is, will you be able to choose if you are part of the Fediverse? So let's take, like, for example, right now, if you make a post to Instagram, or even if you make a post on Threads, you can choose who can reply. And who can view the post. You can make it so people that follow you, everybody, or like a select few.
But
if you if you get the option to say, "Oh, I want to opt out of the Fediverse," then
Okay.
this problem is non-existent.
And the post that you made on Threads won't be visible on Instagram.
Because it was never shared into the Fediverse. It was
Okay.
only kept in that instance. If they do that,
Okay.
then yeah, that problem
It's a lot better, but
is
still,
gone. That problem is gone because then you have the power to choose. You have the power to choose what you do, and then it's kind of up to you. If you make a mistake, then that's kind of your problem. But yeah, that's like a number. That's
as long as they make that extremely visible and they say, "Hey, you sure you want to do this?"
Yeah.
And they don't just hide it behind a wall of texts and legal jargon,
Which-
is basically the terms and agreements that you sign.
Yeah. So now we get into what I think is something that is very important to keep in mind is what impact is Threads going to have on the general kind of concept, the current paradigm of social media.
I love that word.
I mean, we based our name on paradigm. So the reason I think that Threads is going to put some sort of threat on the current concept of social media is because, first of all, Twitter is dying. Twitter is dying. Like most large companies are no longer posting on Twitter. And in fact, as of a couple of days
So
ago,
bad.
even the American president has started posting over on Threads.
I saw
and
you
has,
having beef with Biden. That was kind of funny.
yeah, I'm the one who manages the Politdigm accounts, and
Because I won't be fucked.
I was beefing with Biden over on Threads.
I'm gonna be honest, probably never going to watch that, but in case he does, he just sees this random ass podcast channel
Yeah,
with 50 subs, just going like, "Yo, shit's whacked." That's
Yeah.
gonna be so funny.
so
That will make my day.
basically, Twitter is slowly dying. As of today, Threads is now being investigated by the EU for several reasons. I can't tell you which ones they are.
Twitter is a vegetable, and Threads has a gun.
And so, as I said before, Mastodon was seen as like this easy replacement for Twitter. However, as I said before, Mastodon, first of all, it can be seen as user friendly, but for the casual, for example, for you who can't be fucked and can't be asked to really get into social media, you just want to do something easy that you can't, like, you don't have to do much, you don't have to think much of it.
I don't have to think much. Period.
Mastodon is not good for you. And is not good for most
There's
people.
too much brain power.
Mastodon is not good for most people, which is sad because the whole concept of being part of the Fediverse seems like a better idea because the Fediverse is basically arcs back to the origins of social media, which I said, for example, in MySpace, which was something that was much more individual, something which the company which created the platform did not have that much power on. So Threads comes back to that, or the Fediverse comes back to that. So Mastodon is not exactly the easiest thing to interact with.
It's kind of like Reddit.
So going back, thinking of that and thinking that, oh shit, Instagram is currently, other than TikTok, because think about it, Meta already has a replacement for TikTok. So
Yeah.
other than TikTok, Instagram is the most the largest, most successful social media platform. So
By a fucking country mile.
when you offer a viable replacement for Twitter, one which has every feature which Twitter has ever had,
And more.
and now has the ones which it had and has so far killed off because Elon is dumb. Yes, there are a couple of features it doesn't have, like for example, you can't search for posts, it doesn't have a trending page, it doesn't have ads. There's no ads on Threads, which is really nice.
I also believe that those small quality of life changes will be made
Yeah, they'll
as
slowly.
time progresses.
Yeah,
They kind of have to be careful with the legal loopholes right now. So
Yeah, so keeping that all in mind, you think, oh shit, Twitter's dying. Twitter has approximately I actually don't remember how many users it has, so I'm not
how
even
many?
I'm not gonna even get in there. So
Mr. Electric, use a computer.
no, I can't be asked. And
Okay,
so
give me a second.
no, Alpha, get your hands off my PC. So
God damn.
when you
I feel betrayed.
So when you keep that in mind, Twitter is dying, and Threads has now started to fill in a gap in the market. That is why Threads exists. And so when you keep that in mind and you keep that it's so easy to be part of this social media platform, when you take into account that in the future it's going to be part of the Fediverse, which means that Threads is going to be an easy gateway into the Fediverse, which means that for the casual user, they're going to see, oh, Threads is like this amazing new platform which doesn't have ads, is much more user friendly, is much more trustworthy with our user data.
We hope it's going to be much less racist.
Right now they have much more better moderation, or have moderation compared to Twitter.
They have moderation.
Because Twitter doesn't have moderation. I myself, if you follow me on Threads, you'll see me commenting about this. The first day that I started using Threads, I was seeing a bunch of content that had nothing to do with me. And after a couple of hours, I was only seeing content that was actually for me.
Algorithms.
And yet, no, but that's the thing, is like the algorithm is actually not on crack cocaine. And it's
It
also
is a nice algorithm.
and it's also not designed. There still is an algorithm. There's always going to be
It's
some
not as
sort of
predatory, I believe.
but it's not a predatory algorithm. And it's, first of all, it's not like TikTok where it's just bombarding you with content to keep you on there. And it's also not like Twitter where it specifically focuses only on the already large accounts.
Question: do you have infinite scroll on Threads?
Technically, yes. However, I never find myself doing that. But I've never found myself doing that on Twitter, because the way that
Because
Threads
I know
works
that
is that
doom scrolling
because,
is
like,
extremely fucked with Twitter.
because, for example, on Instagram, you can doom scroll.
Yeah.
You can, even on the For You page, even
I
on the main
used to doom
page.
scroll YouTube until they
Even
put the thing. Now you can no longer doom scroll on YouTube because you have a limit,
Yeah, so basically
which I found out.
the way, for example, Instagram, you can just be on the For You page, right? You can just be on the main page and you can just scroll endlessly. The issue with, or not the issue, the way that Threads works, and even Twitter kind of has this, which is that when you scroll down to a certain point, you're gonna start seeing posts which you already saw, which is something that doesn't really happen on Instagram or on other social media platforms. So you find yourself scrolling a bit, seeing the posts. All right, going back up, reload the page. You don't see anything new, you move on.
Yeah.
So in that sense, it's much more healthy. So when you start keeping into all these different aspects into account, you started thinking, so I don't know what I'm doing. So when you keep that on all those things into account, you start noticing, so Threads actually seems like a interesting social media platform where I'm not going to constantly get bombarded by information, constantly get bombarded by ads, and an actual social media platform where
The social is over the media.
where you actually get to see your friends, where you actually get to talk
be
with
honest,
the people that you
This
like.
sounds too good to be true. There's gonna be a catch. There's going to be a fucking catch somewhere.
So here we get on to, I wouldn't say a catch, but but let me rephrase it
It's
in a
a
different
rabbit
word.
turd on a good sidewalk.
No, think about it. We're talking about meta.
Yeah.
We're talking about meta, like reptile Zuckerberg meta. We're
like,
not talking.
steal your information meta.
We're not talking about. Like, we're not talking about Politdigm if we created a social media platform. We're talking about fucking Meta, which are the most dubious and like devious bastards
Yeah.
in town.
I want to get back
So-
to the VR part. I'm so sorry. This was something that I asked you because of this, because Meta has been sued for predatory market moves when it comes to VR properties.
Yeah.
And Meta also came into a lot of flack because there was this beloved VR game whose player base slowly dwindled, and a new CEO was elected within the VR department, and his first act was, there aren't a lot of players here right now. Hey, yo, let's shut down the server, and the game is no longer available. So we're talking about a company that is known for profit.
Yeah.
And screw legality and fuck yo people.
So when you take
I
that
want to
into
get
account,
money.
when you take that into account, and you take into account that the primary way that Meta makes money is by selling your data two marketing teams, two marketing strategy people, those who are or those who give you those targeted ads. Why is Threads interesting for them? Why do they care about Threads? Because Threads hypothetically won't allow them to do any of the things that they are known for. They won't have control. They won't have this gross ass control over us. They won't have access to all our data. You know, technically speaking, because of the way that the Fediverse works, the governments even have more power over being able to not punitize. What's the word?
Monetize.
No, like punish them.
Sorry.
Punish them over their.
Punitize.
I don't know.
I thought you were going to say monetize.
No, I wanted to say
Punishment?
punishment. Yeah, sorry. So punish them over what they're doing. So why in the fuck? Sorry for my language.
Why in the fuck? Sorry for my language. With the amount of profanities we have already shouted.
Why in the hell?
Sorry for my language.
Pardon for my French. Why would they do this? Why do they want to have threads? Now, as I said before, there's one simple, clear cut explanation. Twitter is dying. They want to fill a hole in the.
Yeah, if they're no Twitter, they have to get money somewhere.
They can fill a gap in the market. But there's one thing you're not considering. As I said before, they also now have an alternative for TikTok. When you take out TikTok out of the equation, if this succeeds, if Threads succeeds, Meta has a total monopoly. What the hell?
We were talking about content, and I just got a notification warning about a porn account.
Yeah, giving Alpha an ad. That's weird. Not even an ad, just literally in your DMs being, oh, I just turned 18 and now I have an OnlyFans. Yeah, this happens to a lot of people, unfortunately. So so let's go back to what I was saying. Take TikTok out of the equation, and Meta will, if Threads is successful, Meta will have an entire monopoly over every concept of social interaction.
Kill it. Nah, that is way too scary.
So
you need to have a market that is diverse. There has to be competition.
Yeah, and
because if there is no competition, things will either get out of hand or go stale.
And the thing is, like, we're all for the idea of having like what am I trying to explain here? Like, for example, think of it in like a private versus public owned thing. Yeah. Something, for example, if social media was a publicly owned platform or thing, right? So that means that a government owns it, or it's something that is not owned by a private company. This wouldn't be such an issue, because this means that for example, in order to define new rules or for this to develop or for the social platform to develop, there will have to be elections.
Imagine being able to vote if someone should get banned or not.
Yeah, that'd be pretty funny.
That would be so funny. Like, should Skibidi Toilet from Ohio get banned?
So when you take that into account, that wouldn't be an issue, because that means that we, the users, everybody who uses the platform, would have power over it.
And also there wouldn't be such a monopoly over information and engagement, because something for the people by the people.
So when you take that into account,
it's like cooking at home and going to a restaurant. You're doing something for yourself.
Yeah.
Or you are going to a place where you are getting fed something.
And hope they don't spit in your food.
That's if you go to Burger King or McDonald's, which, to be fair,
yummy saliva.
Too far.
So when you take that into account, you would think, all right, so the concept of like a social media monopoly wouldn't be bad. However, it is, because Meta
not how it works.
Meta is not a democracy. They're a private company, and they are evil pieces of shit.
Fucking hail Zuckerberg.
So that is a little terrifying. However,
a little terrifying.
Yeah, I'm being I'm
just a little guy. He's just a little guy.
I'm underplaying it, obviously, but however, when you take that into account, like Meta having a total monopoly around social media, there is still the thing to keep in mind that yes, Threads is now part of like the final piece of their monopoly. However, Threads won't allow them to function under this like maniacal fucking functioning that they usually do,
Why?
because the fact that the Fediverse is something that is not centralized. It is something that is not theirs to control.
So what if they just change the rules of the game?
I mean, I wouldn't. I don't know. You're looking into far into the lore.
Now imagine just like, okay, 5 years from now, Twitter, who, TikTok, fucking gone, fuck you Chinese, basically. And Meta just turns around and says, yeah, I got your shit. Now this is actually owned by us. Get wrecked.
I mean, that's not how that would work. But yeah, I get.
Imagine if that happened though. That would be holy fuck.
To kind of cut it short, what I'm trying to say is that yes, this idea of Meta having a total monopoly of social media is terrifying. However, as I mentioned before, I do truly believe that this new wave that Threads is going to bring on of a more user focused social media platform, it is going to make it so that other social media platforms are going to naturally be part of the Fediverse. For example, Tumblr has also said that Tumblr is a OG social media platform.
Yeah.
They want to be part of the Fediverse.
I've never used Tumblr.
Neither have I.
Ever. Like I've never went to Tumblr.
So this idea that possibly the Fediverse is going to grow because the fact that now 2 billion people have an easy gateway into the Fediverse, but also that the Meta is going to might have a monopoly over social media. In my opinion, I could be wrong, and of course, only the future will tell. They might sort of cancel each other out. Because yes, they might have a monopoly in the sense that they own all the popular social media platforms, but if they don't have much power over those social media platforms,
that is not a gamble I would like to make.
It doesn't.
We're talking about legalities, who Meta.
Yeah, I know, of course, but
these bitches thrive on breaking the ankles of the law system.
Yeah, and basically finding loopholes and figuring out shit. So
fuck your loopholes, wormholes. They opening black holes in this bitch.
So whilst I think, to kind of conclude, whilst I think that Threads is going to create a paradigm shift of what social media is,
will that paradigm be better?
I don't think it's going to be worse. I think it is going to be better purely for the reason that us, the user, is going to have more power in it, or is going to have
maybe a little bit more security
power in it. The issue is that you're talking about a monopoly. You're talking about total stagnation of the concept of social media because there is no incentive for
competition
for like, because that's how capitalism works.
Yeah, they won't be able to have any traction if you need to be part of the system and you try to offer something that differs from the system. This is part of, funny enough, you talked about paradigms. This is part of the paradigm proposal made by Thomas Kuhn. Wait.
Could be.
I can't believe I made an exam on this. Come on.
Get the gears going.
Okay, give me a sec.
Anyways,
I gotta check. Hold your thoughts, because basically the idea is that whilst you are within the paradigm, I'm still checking for the god damn it, Google. Okay.
Did you just try to
Thomas Kuhn? Yeah, Thomas Kuhn. So basically, it's the idea that whilst you are within a certain paradigm, the proposals and that challenge that paradigm, and they're outside of the paradigm bubble, either die off or start accumulating until they challenge the new paradigm, and either a new paradigm is formed or it's reinforced.
Yeah.
So basically, if you get competition, it will either do two things. One, completely die the fuck off, which for the first years, it's what's going to happen because there is not going to be enough competition, or it will create a whole new paradigm, which in opposition to this system, I don't want to see what comes.
The thing is, we're also assuming that Twitter is going to fully die. I don't think that Twitter will.
I'm gonna be honest. I think Twitter's going to die.
I don't
if
think-
people are given a good alternative that has no drawbacks and all the positives, I think Twitter is going to be relegated to social media of extremists.
Yeah, I think that like Twitter is.
It's going to become
X-
the 4chan.
X, like literally X, because Twitter is dead. The concept of what Twitter was is that Twitter is like X is going to become the new true social. It is slowly just going to get.
It's going to become
completely-
4chan. It's basically going to become that.
It's going to become completely consumed. However, like we can't predict the future, so we're assuming that the only player in the game is going to be Meta.
Yeah, we
which
also don't have a degree
seems-
in marketing, so
Seems I am trying
no,
to get one.
not marketing. Markets,
Yes.
economy, companies,
So
big words.
whilst we can't predict the future, it seems that creating a monopoly of social media is what Meta is trying to do, because they have the whole wet dream of the metaverse. So them having a complete, total,
His ass, by the way.
a total control of the way people talk would allow them to better make the metaverse. However, in a concept of the Fediverse, which is the whole concept that no matter which platform you are on, you are in one universe, meaning that you can connect with anybody. That also means that social media platforms are going to slowly, basically just slowly die off. And instead of being, oh, or do you have Twitter? Do you like what social media do you use? You're basically going to the new paradigm or the new concept of social
Are you
media
part of or the
is going
Fediverse or not?
is going to be either you are part of the Fediverse, which most people are probably going to be. So it's like, oh, what's your address? Like, what is
What's
your
your Freddy
like what is your
address?
what is your
Jesus
social
Christ.
what is your social media address? Like what is like just like asking an email, like what is your social
Yo,
media
where do
address?
you live?
So like they give you an address and you can talk to them regardless, which means that I think that even if there is some sort of I think that what Meta wants is to create a monopoly, but what I think is what I hope happens is that a whole new concept, something which we can't even predict because it doesn't exist yet. A whole new concept of what social media is going to be born, where instead of having different social media platforms, you have one social media, and the different platforms are basically just portals, just the gateways into that bigger world.
Question: who do you think is going to become the new Yahoo Mail of social medias?
Oh, that's a good question. Yahoo Mail. Who is going to be Yahoo of the Fediverse?
Facebook?
Maybe if Facebook would add Fediverse like functionalities, I
Yeah.
feel like it would, because like
As
Yahoo was like
someone whose grandmother
still uses Yahoo. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
So-
I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, because like slowly, what I think is going to happen is that slowly, even Facebook, even Instagram, even fuck knows, maybe Snapchat, even the already established social media platforms
Yeah.
are going to slowly integrate into the Fediverse, because
Imagine that whenever-
if Threads succeeds, that is what seems the next logical step.
Imagine that if it's ever transported to virtual reality.
I mean, that would be pretty
You
cool.
would have a Ready Player One type of
I know.
which is cool and fucking terrifying.
Yeah, the
but
concept
that's
of the
cool.
game of Oasis, the game in Reddit.
You only saw the movie, right?
Yeah, I didn't read the book.
Yeah, the book is much more
I know.
capitalist. It's
I-
basically like, oh, you poor guy got wrecked.
Yeah, you've told me about it, but I mean, you get that like I mean the movie is directed by Steven Spielberg, but you get that the movies turned down to not be as polarizing for a possibly more liberal or a more capitalist audience. You get that. It's very clear if you understand politics and if you like that movie. But you get
Like in the book, the guy that made Oasis was just a fucking weirdo. He had a whole article about why he thought that masturbation was a great stress relief for nerds.
I mean,
He's not wrong.
he's not wrong.
But a fucking article?
Like there's a whole article. Like imagine like Politdigm where like why you should masturbate every day.
Why the no fap, no gain thing is
Why
correct.
masturbating actually is the best way to destroy the patriarchy.
morning routine. Jack off. wake up.
jack off again. And by the end of the day, you'll go to sleep knowing that you helped destroying the patriarchy and the currently hierarchical bullshit society that is capital.
Go into your car. Use the car to jack off.
Whoa,
Personal masturbator in the car.
whoa, that's
Well,
nice.
this I
This
think
took a weird turn.
this is going to the shadow realm at this point.
Yeah, well, the point I'm trying to say is that we are on Threads. Go follow us on Threads because we're beefing with POTUS, with the President of the United States.
I'm not on Threads personally. I can be asked yet.
I'm going to put you on there purely
I know.
because you're like, imagine us together double teaming conservatives.
That doesn't sound good.
That does not sound good, but imagine us
In game.
dunking consecutively on a fucking conservative. It would be glorious
In
stuff.
Minecraft.
In Minecraft. But yeah, make sure to follow us on there because I've wanted, like, since I have it, I can Alpha is going to fucking vouch for me because I'm going to show it to him. Like, if I go to my Threads profile and I scroll all the
It
way
actually
down.
doesn't look that bad.
All right.
Why does Shrek? Okay, I know.
Okay, so here's the second thread or the second post I've ever made. If
Okay.
Instagram wants to make, wait, is this the one? Hold up. Oh yeah, here right now it's the third one. I kind of hope this app works out so that Twitter can finally die. And I made a fucking promise to myself that the moment that Threads would come to the EU, which again I can't.
I remember you putting that thread on Instagram.
Yeah, where is it? Oh, I can't.
Here at Politdigm,
Maybe I
we keep it
deleted it.
real.
So I don't know. Basically, I was like, yeah, the moment that Threads comes to the EU, I am leaving Twitter, and I have done so. And the only posts I've made on Twitter are literally telling everybody to go follow me or Politdigm on Twitter, on Threads. I mean, so
And with that, I think we have our closing statement.
yeah, so go follow us, go engage there, go have fun. Make sure to
Do it responsibly.
yes, and make sure to block every dumbass conservative you see in your path, which seems to be.
Unless you want to enlighten yourself to the stupidity of the other side.
But honestly, Threads is pretty gay, and I mean that in the best way possible. There's a ton of queer people on there because I think that
It's actually pretty good.
which actually makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Like, Twitter has become a hellhole for queer people, so of course the moment they're like, "Oh shit, there's another one,"
Like,
they have all gone to.
Let's go back.
gone
Like
to Threads.
4chan, gone. Reddit, gone. Tumblr, oh fuck.
Yeah, so
Twitter, last in the hellhole.
anyways, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to support us over on Patreon, and
If you can.
if you
always.
can, of course. And of course, don't forget to join our Discord so that you can be part of the podcast Q&A.
And even if you do not join our Patreon, you can always join the free section of the Discord where you can become a part of the Politdigm community.
Yes. And just interact with us, have fun, suggest ideas for podcast topics.
Speak your mind, peasants.
Yes, or even
We will hear you atop our ivory towers.
or even if you are, for example, even if you want to, for example, you can suggest ideas for Politdigm reads or other content we'll do. So
It would actually be pretty fun, like book month.
Book month?
A book club month.
yeah, that would be fun. Politdigm
Like
book
each
club.
month you have a certain book that's being read out loud.
That would be pretty fun. Anyways,
But how would you do it if you
I
chose
don't
like,
know. We'll see.
yeah, fucking War and Peace by Dostoevsky.
What?
You don't know that book?
I know, but like, why?
Because it's fucking humongous.
I know.
How would you read that in a month?
I know you can also like you can even read the Das Kapital in a fucking month. That shit is 3 volumes and it's thick as fuck.
I'm gonna do that.
Good luck, buddy.
I'm gonna paraphrase the shit out of it.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll all see you in the next episode. I just hit the mic. Sorry. Yeah.
And have a nice Christmas.
Yes. Have a nice Christmas, and we'll see you right before. We'll see you.
6th, I think.
Wait, no. If next week is one post next week,
Yeah.
so we'll see you next year.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the next episode. Will come out on. Wait, no. If we are going to, never
Yeah,
mind.
we're gonna do a special thing.
We're going to do a special
you
episode.
Spoil the fucking surprise.
Damn it. Anyways, next week special thingy. Goodbye, everybody.
Sweet.